Are you currently trying to put your empirical literature reviews together based on your institution's requirements for your dissertation or thesis? Then this is the video that you should watch. Or else you do not have the time. So we show you that the abstract is a quick first step to take a look at, and what are the things that you're looking out for. Watch this video to the end. Very quickly, what's an abstract? It's actually a compact intellectual summary of a scholarly work. It serves not only as an entry point for readers, but we use it as a critical touch point for databases, conference proceedings, and even indexing systems. So that's why the first thing you'll come across when you want to check if this paper or this work, this study is relevant for your literature review, you will be looking at the abstract very quickly. And if it doesn't sell it for you, you have to move on to the next, because you can't be reading the entire work. But if the abstract tells you and gives you the basic information, then you tell yourself, oh, this is good, and I will be citing and using this material, and I will be reading the full content to pull out extras from it and cite appropriately. So you're welcome. Before we move on, for you to just quickly subscribe, if you haven't done that, and just follow us so that you can get more information when we release our posts. Thank you very much. What we have today. Today we'll be looking at an abstract, and this work is Taraba State-based journalists' perception of investigative journalism as an antidote to institutional corruption in Nigeria. This particular work was conducted by Okocha, Amaka, Ngantem, and Atu Obinabo, and it was submitted, it was published in 2025, very recently, and you can find it in the GBU Journal of Research and Development. What are the parts of the abstract? We'll review this abstract and to see the parts or what was presented in it. We start by saying that the researchers examined the use of investigative journalism in combating institutional corruption in Nigeria. It investigated the challenges affecting investigative journalists in curbing institutional corruption in Nigeria. Okay, so this goes straight to the objective. Next, we actually have the theory. Theory was used for this work, and so the researchers employed the social responsibility theory, which posited that the mass media have a duty to serve the public interest by providing accurate and unbiased information, promoting democratic values, and holding those in power accountable. So the social responsibility theory was expounded on in this particular work. So next, they put on the methodology. They let us know that the research approach and participants, they said they used a qualitative approach where 20 journalists, participants represented across various news organizations in Taraba State, and these journalists were selected from a population of 100, and the study focused on 6 chapels in Jalingo metropolis. So their methodology outlines clear steps for what they did. Major findings show that journalists and there's institutional corruption, but their study revealed that many journalists in Taraba State have misconceptions regarding what institutional corruption really even entails, which has affected their fight against institutional corruption. Also, it was established that challenges such as fear of the unknown, harassment, lack of access to information, lack of funds, and widespread corruption within the media were amongst others. So there are recommendations or implications. Key recommendations that came from this study by Okocha et al. Is saying that organize seminars to educate journalists about institutional corruption, encourage prioritizing investigative reporting to combat corruption, strengthen the fight against corruption in Nigeria's institution. So that's how the study ends, and I would say kudos to the team that put this work together. Now, this abstract effectively outlines the study-focused theoretical framework mentioned, methodology, the findings, and recommendation. It clearly shows how investigative journalism intersects with the fight against institutional corruption in Nigeria, and I think it meets its objectives through the relevant data collection and the analysis that was done. However, I think it would have been even better if the abstract would have been more included a brief background to contextualize the problem even before introducing the study objective, because it just went straight up to the study objective. Additionally, I would say that it would also have been good to have a conclusion, to say that, oh, this is what we are concluding on, just not just going straight to the recommendations and the like. So before we go, it would be good for you to just know that we have key parts of an abstract that would actually help, that it allows you to, going forward, you can be able to apply that even in your work. And as we go on, just know that new information comes in every day. We get data, we try to improve our work. So no work is bad, no work is perfect, okay? We all just are striving to make it better. So you can't say, oh, this is, 100%. There will be one or two things, and that's why they're called gaps in research. And so your own research is, your own study is to add on, and make the other one better. So make yours better so that other studies going forward for the future will also improve on that. So we're looking at parts of an abstract, and an abstract should basically have the following: the background and introduction, because the background actually sets the stage for, briefly stating the problem or context. It answers why this study is necessary. So the academic research consistently recommends starting with a precise background to ensure clarity and scholarly relevance. According to the APA Manual, 7th edition, an abstract is a brief, comprehensive summary of the contents of a paper. So a well-prepared abstract can be the most important paragraph in an article. And stated earlier, we say that before I go further into the work, I want to use the abstract to find out if it's relevant and it has the key details for that's related to my literature review, because that's the first contact we have with an article, by reading the title and the abstract. Usually is in comparison with several others. We do not have all the time, so we are conducting a quick literature search. So we'll decide on the basis of the abstract whether to read the entire article. So please note that also parts of the abstract include your objectives have to be stated. Once you state your objectives, if you're using theories, then you put them. If there are no theories, then you move on to your methodology, and after that you move to your findings, because we want to know what you found out after you did what you did. So what did you find out, and or the implications. And if it's a qualitative study, for example, this kind, you would have a discussion, your discussion corner, or you're stating the findings. So if it's quantitative, you want to be stating the results. Okay, so you would say maybe you're writing your results from what you have been able to gather. What are your conclusions based on what you found out? Then what are your recommendations based on your conclusions and what you found out? So qualities of a good abstract also ensures that a good abstract is accurate. Ensure that your abstract reflects the purpose and the content of the paper. These are components that allow us to know what was the issue, what was the goal. You want to also tell us what was the approach you used, which is the methodology. What did we find, and why does it matter? So on this note, if you neglect any part of this arc, it will weaken your abstract communicative power and the scholarly impact that you are supposed to be, giving. And if given that abstracts are often more, read more than the full paper, we use that for making our decisions, checking if this is right for the work we want to do, and if we want to go further, to cite it as a source. Okay, so getting the structure right should be an academic best practice. And if you're doing a paper or a journal based on the standard or the recommendation or requirements for that journal or paper submission, you may be required to put in keywords. Those keywords allow for tagging and for search engine optimization, so that we can be able to know what papers are also relevant for what we are looking for. So thank you very much. I hope you had a good time on this one. So if you are still yet to subscribe, we want to employ that please you subscribe and join us on this channel, so that whenever we post anything, you will be the first to see it and it will be useful for your work. So for project writing and support, don't forget that this is the contact you can use to get any support to review your abstract, to ensure that you're on the right page. You want to actually get your dissertation or thesis ready. See you on the next one. Thank you for being a part of this abstract review with Dr. Roxy. Bye.